Brisbane. It's match day 15 of the Isuzu UTE A-League. Both sides lining up on the Isuzu UTE tunnel camp. So what an afternoon awaits here in the Hunter. Anticipation has been building since these box office Jets, as they've been dubbed, thumped Wellington 4-1 here last Friday. And now today, Brisbane Roar is all that stands between them, and 5 consecutive A-League wins for the first time in the competition's 21-year history. But to be a hit at the box office, every great movie needs a villain capable of stealing the show. And Brisbane will be revelling in that chance to wear the black hat today. They already punctured the Mariners' New Year's Eve celebrations. Today, they would love nothing more than to shoot down the Jets for the second time this season. Maybe something of the Newcastle Jets' kryptonite, Brisbane Roar. A 3-0 win. Way back in round 4. A lot of water has passed under the bridge since then. We're going to pause very shortly for a moment's applause in memory of former Melbourne City and Brisbane Roar head coach Rado Vidosic, who sadly passed away this week.
The Australian football community are deeply saddened to hear of the passing of Rado Vidosic. Rado leaves an enduring legacy on our game, inspiring and empowering men and women's players across our leagues for almost 2 decades. A premiership and championship winning coach, Rado's legacy is felt well beyond the pitch. A friendly, kind-hearted and much-loved football person who worked tirelessly to improve players, coaches and staff around him. We join the wider football community in remembering Rado and extend our heartfelt thoughts and condolences to his family and loved ones. In recognition of his contribution to the game, we ask if you are able to please stand for a moment of applause for Rado Vidosic. Thank you.
Yeah, and we pass on all our thoughts to Rado's family, especially to Dario Vidosic, who has taken a leave of absence from his time with the Brighton and Hove Albion WSL side. Now to the team news for today. Unchanged starting side for the Jets for the 3rd match in a row. Bayless scored the fastest goal in Jets A-League history last week. He plays alongside Dobson and Burgess in midfield. New signing Zach Clough is out of the matchday squad. He's still building up his fitness, at least a couple of weeks away. One change to the Roar after their 3-2 defeat to the Reds last week. Former Jet Justin Vidic will start against his old side, replacing Michael Roos, who drops to the bench. Long and Klein both will look to score in 3 consecutive A-League matches in this Roar side, who have been free scoring in recent weeks. Kickoff is next. Brisbane, who haven't been the most eye-catching attacking side, have been hitting the back of the net in recent weeks. Mark Milligan's side will be looking to shut that down here this afternoon. He's looking to see how much his side has improved since that 3-0 win back in round 4. Michael Valkanis said yesterday his side is ready to stuff up the Jets' party, and they are relishing the opportunity to end the Jets' winning run at 4. Alex King back in the A-League after refereeing at the AFC Under-23 Asian Cup in Saudi Arabia. Would you believe his last domestic appearance was on New Year's Eve? What happened that night? He sent off Raw boss Michael Valkanis. Tim Danaskis is the VAR. Tony Robinson, the assistant this afternoon. Assistant referees Ashley Beecham and Daniel Ilievsky. Tom Dale is the 4th official. Clayton Taylor's 17th A-League goal last week took him into the top 10 on the Jets' all-time charts. Another 4 goals this season, and he will climb to 4th behind Griffiths, O'Donovan and Petratos. So McDonald Jones Stadium a picture here for match day 15 of the Isuzu UTE A-League. Newcastle chasing history. Brisbane, well, they want to find some momentum after that defeat to Adelaide. It's been a wretched run, 4 defeats in their last 5 matches for the visitors here this afternoon. So Saturday afternoon football underway in Newcastle. The Jets hunting 5 straight wins for the first time in their A-League history. Oh, the Raw looking to rediscover their mojo this season. And Daniel McBreen, what an intriguing matchup this one is. What is the blueprint for Brisbane to end the Jets' golden run? Do they go back to that round 4 matchup?
Well, good afternoon, Ben. In that round 4 matchup, they really had the wood on the Jets, but the Jets have turned a corner since then. Coming into this match, over the past 5 games, the Jets are the most informed team. Brisbane Raw, rock bottom on the other end of the scale. In saying that, if Raw can get a win today by 3 like they did last time out, they'll jump the Jets into 2nd place. It's so tight, the A-League. And I think today they'll go back to that. They're going to be strong. I think there's a reason Vidosic has started today, an ex-Jet. He's going to put himself around a bit of a point to prove as the Jets go on the hunt with Will Dobson down the right. But I think they'll be aggressive. They'll look to stifle the Jets' quick attacking play and look to pinch something themselves. And it's quite a hefty crowd, it must be said, on the side that we are and on the behind the goals at either end. Obviously the far side there in the sun it's quite warm on that side. Most people choosing the other sides. So a big crowd here for this one.
Yeah, warm conditions touching 30 degrees, but it's not really the heat that's doing the damage. It's more so the humidity that is the challenge this afternoon. Georgios Vrakas clipping it to Klein and hangs it up there for Vidosic. Good early opportunity for the former Jet, who made his A-League debut at this venue a couple of years ago. Now Clayton Taylor loves these kind of situations, one-on-one with defenders, and ran into a brick wall in the form of Klein. And that a little snapshot, Macca, of what Sam Klein brings to this Brisbane lineup. We see his creativity at one end and then his industry at the other.
Yeah, well, it was a wonderful ball in, wasn't it? Delianov had to come and punch, and there he was, helping his defenders out at the other end to stop Clayton Taylor.
Clayton Taylor, who I mentioned pre-game, 17 A-League men's goals for Newcastle. This man scored after 21 seconds last week. He's not able to track that down in the shadows of the byline. There is a breeze behind the Jets back in this first half. Bit of a nor'easter.
Well, you see the determination there in the challenges from Brisbane Raw. And I think it was a sign right from the kickoff as we see Delianov with the punch. When the ball was laid back to Dean Bazanis, Lockie Rose, as he always does, took off and tried to press the ball. No less than 3 Brisbane Raw players gave him the shoulder barge as he tried to go past. They all moved in the line to make sure he had to get through all 3 of them before he got anywhere near the keeper. And I think that's a sign of the way that they'll address this game.
And if you look at that round 4 match against Brisbane Raw, you would probably say it was the most disappointing performance for the Jets of the Mark Milligan era, because on that particular occasion they were just not able to create any kind of stress defensively for Brisbane. Barely had a shot until late on. So that is the challenge for the Jets today, because you look at every other side in this competition, in the A-League men's, the Jets have scored against them. They haven't played Adelaide, but they played them in the Cup. Brisbane are the only side they're yet to score against. So, yeah, That is a little bit of a challenge. We say the Jets have been Auckland's kryptonite this season. Can Brisbane prove likewise for Newcastle? Here's Bertolicio. Dobson being harassed by Klein and Vracas, and he gives it up, and he gives up a free kick, but Alex King is going to play advantage here for Klein. And Shaughnessy stepping in at the right moment, but the press, Mayoroni was good, and this is what Brisbane do so well when they get that press in unison.
Well, they did well there, didn't they? Look at the numbers, and again, it's Klein. And I thought that was good refereeing to allow the play as Klein drove forward with the ball. He had runners in front of him as well.
Well, here we go. Bit of gamesmanship. Getting a little spicy early on, Sam Klein. The nightclub bouncer out across in front of Bertolicio. Mayoroni was ensuring Newcastle were not able to play on quickly. And there's a little example early on of what Brisbane like to do.
Well, Brisbane Roar, as everyone else will know, that the Jets love to play everything quickly. Throw-ins, free kicks, corners. They love to get it in, get it down, get it in and play. They would have discussed that. And saw there Mayoroni just stopping Burgess from getting the ball. Quick chat from Alex King and it's all sorted.
Well, as I mentioned pre-game, Alex King's first match back in the Isuzu UTE League since New Year's Eve. He's been refereeing in Saudi Arabia in the AFC Under-23 Asian Cup, refereed up to the semi-finals of that competition. And that last match in the A-League was that infamous clash on the Central Coast where Valkanis was sent off. There was a massive blow-up at half-time in the tunnel. Warren Moon added his 2 cents worth as well. It was all happening that night, so a bit of spice you'd expect on the touchline continuing here today. Shaughnessy and Bertolicio. Heavy touch from Dobson. And then Mayoroni has done well. Made a lot of pressure there. Ludwig, well, that's a poor turnover. Burgess and Rose. Baylis's touch. It was searching for Taylor. And here's the captain, O'Shea. What's fascinating for Brisbane as well is such as the form of Mayoroni since he's come in after Jay O'Shea was injured. He now sits in the heart of midfield. O'Shea's been pushed out to the right. Here is Taylor bearing down on goal. Rose in the middle. Taylor goes himself and the deflection bamboozled Rose and the chance goes missing for the Jets.
Well, I'm not sure if he was looking for the square pass to Rose or the goal himself. I just thought he might open up onto the right foot, give himself a better angle. I think he's looking for Lockie Rose at the back post. Surely could have opened the hips, used the right foot and just bent it into the far corner there.
Eli Adams shifts it around the corner for Bertolicio. Good pressure there from Vracas and they're fighting for the ball down towards the corner. Adams, the former Raw man, the Toowoomba product, dazzling his way towards the box, but McGarry, well, that is expert one-on-one defending from the former Jet. Oh, here we go. Milligan immediately turns to the fourth official. Nick Stavroulakis joins him in his appeals, and they're having a conversation now about Brisbane's go-slow tactics. 8 minutes in.
It's not very often you see the go-slow tactics this early, as we see the robust challenges flying in.
Oh, the spice is right on point here. Adams floating it towards our back post, but no one in position. Now it's Chris Long on the turf. Well, Macca, if you thought the Sydney Derby was going to have some spice, I'm telling you, this match is going to have just as much if the first 8.5 minutes is anything to go by.
Well, they certainly know how to get under an opposition's skin, don't they, Brisbane Roar? They've made no bones about that.
I love the fact they're invoking the Queensland spirit as well with this jersey. And we know they've had that for a few years, but Michael Valkanis is really playing up to it this season. Checks on Vracus, beats him around the outside. He's got to be careful. Vracus, Rose's delivery, nodded away by Valkanis. Being urged on by a packed Southern Hill here, the Newcastle Jets.
Well, speaking of the Southern Hill, I don't think I've seen it that packed for a long, long time. The fans are on board. The team is entertaining. They're doing well. People are turning up to see this team perform.
Natta just beyond the outstretched boot of Taylor. And if you are wondering why is the Southern Hill more packed than the Northern Hill, well, that's because it's the wet hill. It's the drinking hill. The other one's the family hill. If you haven't been here to McDonald Jones Stadium, just a quick rundown.
What are you trying to say about the Novocastrians, Benny?
I'm not saying anything, Macca. I just know which hill you'd pick.
Family man up the north.
A slip from Buzanis. Bertolicio and Adams. Eli Adams has scored in his last two. He's never scored in 3 straight A-League matches. They have a chance here as it's poked around the corner. And he very nearly picked out the top corner on cue, Eli Adams.
Well, they're probing, aren't they? It's been all Newcastle Jets in this opening 10 minutes. Eli Adams has been in and around the action. They've gone down the right, they've gone down the left. There's balls that have gone through the middle. They aren't far off, and you feel like something is brewing again for the Jets.
But as Brisbane learnt last week, they did have that 1-0 lead at half-time. But if you don't make the most of those opportunities, it can come back to haunt you. And Adelaide certainly did that in that come-from-behind 3-2 victory. Came from 1-0 and 2-1 down. It was the one that got away, according to their coach. Felt like they just didn't make the most of the opportunities when they had them, especially in that first half. That's what Newcastle have to do here in these first 15 minutes, where they've been so strong. The best attacking side in the league for the first 15. 8 goals in this passage of the match. And 7 in the final 15. So they certainly live up to that name. The box office Jets, as they've been dubbed this season. Bertolicio cops some treatment. Will Alex King come back for it? He will. Is there any further punishment? He's right under the gaze of Michael Valkanis. Have a look at this. Little tap on the leg from the Brisbane boss. Nothing in that.
It's a little late, isn't it? Maybe a little lucky not to see a yellow card.
The Brisbane bench are actually furious that Delianov came along out of his box to get involved as well, which I thought was intriguing. Natta. Nice pass picked off by Klein. Slips it through for Vidic, the former Newcastle Jet, just at the key moment. He was able to find the back heel. Long stings the palms of Delianov. Gee, Justin Vidic did so well there after what initially looked like the chance evaporating.
But he looked to have timed his run to perfection as well. Just a poor touch let him down, allowed Natta to get back, but recovered well. Long with the run from behind to support. Here's another look. I tell you what, that would have been really tight if a goal would come at the end of it. You see Long making the forward run as well, and he does strike a ball well.
Well, he scored in his last 2, Chris Long, 3 for the season. His most in a campaign, 10 with Crew Alexandra back in 21-22 season over in the UK. as you can see, he's more than just a goal scorer. Really leads that Brisbane press with the energy up the top. Gary under the pressure of Rose, and this will be a free kick. The former Newcastle Jet of about 6 months, Macca. He was signed by Arthur Pappas and only lasted 6 months. Then he went to the Mariners and won the grand final.
Clear foul there, wasn't it? Lucky Rose, as ever. Both teams very intent with their pressure, not allowing opposition time on the ball in certain areas.
Salas just giving Wilmering and Delianov something to think about there. But it now allows some space here if Newcastle go at that right edge of Brisbane. Dobson using Wilmering. Look at that passing accuracy, 85% Newcastle. Very high passing accuracy this season, 4th best and the 2nd most passes. You look at Brisbane, worst passing accuracy and the 9th most passes in the competition. As Clayton Taylor in front of Brisbane, this should be a penalty. Alex King does not hesitate. He points straight to the spot. It was as clear a foul as you would probably see from a goalkeeper in that situation.
Yeah, I'd agree, Ben, on first viewing. It was almost a beautiful ball in the first, but the deflection takes it high, and then Bazanis decides to come. And he just comes in and clatters Clayton Taylor as he brings the ball down. You see there, the left knee and the arm just go out, and that's enough to bring Taylor down.
So who will step up here for the Jets? Looks as though it's Lockie Rose. Well, the VAR is checking the penalty. You would be interested to see what they are checking.
Well, they check everything, Benny, so they have to have a look.
Well, they do, but it's being made clear to us that they are checking. I thought it was pretty clear cut. I think the check's over now. So anyway, Rose has got a chance here to go level in the Golden Boot race with Eze, who went to 7 goals last night in that match against Melbourne City. Newcastle chasing 5 straight victories, lead inside 18 minutes.
Well, he'd really struggled to find the back of the net at home, Lockie Rose. And on the Harvey Norman replay, it was Will Dobson with the initial run and the ball that caused all the problems. Clayton Taylor with a wonderful first touch, and Bazanis brings him down. And Lockie Rose gets the monkey off his back and tucks it away. His first goal in Jets colours at home. And you'd have to say, the way the game has gone up until this moment, it's nothing more than the Jets deserve. They've looked dangerous, and a couple of half sniffs in behind.
So you can see 7 goals for the season for Rose, equal leader in the Golden Boot race. And Brisbane forced to come from behind. Newcastle, they love playing from in front. They've won 8 of 11 when they've scored the first goal. 3 defeats though, so it's not an open and shut case. So much left to play out. When they have conceded first, Brisbane have come back and won on 1 occasion with the 1 draw and 3 defeats. Bayless around the corner for Taylor. Taylor, and it was Klein again who slammed the door shut. O'Shea somehow fashions a ball over the top for Vracas.
Well, Jay O'Shea has now brought himself over to the other side. I wonder if he's just seen the shade on the pitch and said, that'll do me. It's quite warm out there in direct sunlight.
Just to clarify, Macca, Rose's first goal at home this season. He has scored it at home in previous seasons. Just wanted to make sure.
Sorry,
that
I should have been clearer.
I thought surely it's not his first at McDonald Jones Stadium. Yes, his last was against Melbourne Victory in that delayed match after one of the Jets fans had a heart attack last season. So yes, he gets the monkey off the back this season. Does Lockie Rose. Eli Adams. Oh, he shaped up from distance. I thought we were going to get an Orlando Engelar style moment there from Adams. He stumbles. Recovers his feet. Baylor, same position as he scored from last week. This is Burgess now as they look to recycle at the Jets. Dobson sees the run of Rose. He's got speed. Just a little bit slippery. I saw Bazana slip over moments ago, and you can see some marks in the dirt there from Rose as he looked to cut that one back.
Well, before kickoff, there was about a 10-minute meeting between the ground staff, the CEO of the Jets team McPherson, and Nigel Bogard, football director. And apparently they were asking that half-time pitch be watered again. And apparently there was some discussion around why that could not happen. And I'm not sure if the slipperiness of the pitch maybe has something to do with the grass. But there was a long discussion of why that should or shouldn't happen.
Rose, tight angle, and it will be a corner. Well, just to finish off, we've got an offside, so we can elaborate on that further, Macca. What was fascinating was it wasn't just Nigel Bogard, it was the Jets CEO as well, Tane Drinkwater. And that's just underlining your point. That was the thing that staggered me. It's not often you see a meeting between the head of football, the CEO, and the ground staff. So that's what intrigued me about that chat pre-game.
And it's not often I get her name wrong as well. I'm pretty sure I called her Tane McPherson. Sorry, Tane. My apologies. But yes, it was a pretty robust conversation for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Just mention that, as you say, that a few players slipping, and maybe there is something that the groundsmen are saying, or the groundspeople are saying, we can't put too much water on it.
You just wait, there'll be a new segment this week. Macca, he's got the tactician, and you're going to have the fungus expert, I reckon.
Well, fungus was a word that was thrown to me that may have been an issue in the grass. So
here's Dobson and Rose. So just past the midway point in this first half. Rose from the spot. In his 7th of the season. He scored 8 last season for the Jets. I was talking about Clayton Taylor racing up on 20 goals for the Newcastle Jets. Well, Rose is already at 15. His most in a season at MacArthur was just 4. So he's really picked up from a goal scoring perspective, given that responsibility at the Jets.
And he does shoulder that responsibility, but with this team, there have 7 players who have scored 3 goals or more. So he is getting a lot of help from his teammates. They are spreading the load. It's not like he feels like he has to score. Of course he wants to, Sometimes when you're a striker and the rest are getting 1 and 2 in the season, you feel like, oh, I really have to score here. Well, the others are pitching in. They're all having a hand in why they're so potent as an attack.
Kat Haddad is on the sideline for us today. Kat, what an atmosphere today in Newcastle.
Incredible atmosphere. I feel very lucky to be down on the sideline for this one. No doubt the Newcastle Jets fans are the 12th man tonight. They are moving and reacting to the ebbs and flows of the game. Every tackle, it's like they're involved, they're reacting. The crowd is very loud, and they certainly have that advantage tonight, the Newcastle Jets. And, of course, that penalty, quite the reaction from the crowd. A very, very exciting one to witness. And the tense box for Brisbane Roar as well goes without saying. There is a lot of pacing and up and down from the seat for Michael Volkanis at the moment.
Thanks, Kat. Yeah, the Jets' last crowd of more than 10,000 was back in May 2019. That was the number they were looking to track down today. 10,260 for their final home game of the season, and that was against Sydney, who brought a fair number of away fans. So they'll love to get the 5 figures today. Newcastle. Maroney asking Long to do some chasing. O'Shea. Allowed time here, Jay O'Shea, and loves playing against the Jets. Most prolific goal scoring wise against Newcastle is 6, but it breaks down for Brisbane on that occasion. Wilmering. Bayless, here he is again. Oh, that spot on the field. You just have your eyes trained on it. And on that occasion, he couldn't quite get the same purchase as he did last week against the Knicks.
Well, you could just hear the crowd's anticipation as soon as he turned. They've all seen last week. Well, we're baying for another, just the same.
And both his A-League goals have been spectacular. Bayless, if you remember his first goal, which was at HBF Park in Perth, that came from edge of the 18-yard box. Taylor. The deflection saves Brisbane on that occasion. The desperation in the box from Volkanis, who is furious with his teammates. He wants more energy.
Well, he wants some more desperation in front of him. That's too easy. 3 Queensland shirts around him, Brisbane Roar shirts. He just waltzes on through all 3. Just sticking a leg out there, Maroney, and he has every right to say, come on, that's not enough.
Well, these hot, humid conditions should be right up Brisbane's alley. It's what they're used to day in, day out. Can't be fading at this moment. Newcastle often take a short corner. This time it's long, and Shaughnessy tried to flick it on. Burgess shimmies onto the left. He's yet to score an A-League goal for Newcastle, and the wait will continue. He did score in the Cup, but not yet in the league. And you can see the crowd on this near side of the ground absolutely jam-packed. It's the cooler side of McDonald Jones Stadium, and the hill there on the southern side. Eric Partaloo said last week, Georgios Varakis, the last piece of the puzzle for Brisbane. Just haven't quite got the goals out of the Greek import as of yet. Actually hasn't scored since May 2023 in a competitive match. And there's the countdown for the 43rd Sydney derby. Just under 90 minutes away. From our coverage, Paramount Plus 10 drama, you do not want to miss it. Western Sydney Wanderers under Gary Van Egmond. Can they make it 2 wins from 2 against Western Sydney. And this is a whistle for Newcastle. Taylor has some space to exploit down the left, but he didn't take on Salas. Opts for Wilmering. This is good link up again from the Jets. Brisbane scramble, that time through Ludwig. You could see there Clayton Taylor, he looked at Houston Salas and he said, well, it's probably going to be an even match for pace, so we'll try and play it round you, and it very nearly came off for the Jets.
Clayton Taylor often goes past defenders like they're not even there. Houston Salas will be a real test today. He's been outstanding this season.
Dobson, Burgess, Dobson, Dobson! Somehow denied. He can't quite believe it, the local junior, that he's been denied a 4th A-League goal.
Well, it was a lovely one too, wasn't it, with Burgess? And he sells the dummy there, and I just thought the dink, he tries it, and he just catches the knee of Bizanis.
But what about the composure of the young man? Just 18 years of age, the Belmont FC junior. So again, it's a longer corner from the Jets. 2 in a row, Macca. I'm just wondering the change-up. So often we've seen them play it short this season.
Well, maybe they've been delving into the stats. Did Brisbane concede more goals from corners, Benny? We'll have to check that one. Maybe Mark Milligan and his staff have seen something.
Well, Brisbane have conceded 6 set-piece goals this season, 2 penalties, well now 3, 2 corners and 1 free kick. So not too much to read into there, I wouldn't think. So, a bit of a drinks break taking place as Jay O'Shea gets some treatment. And all players will be relieved for that. There is a little bit of a nor'easter blowing, but let's be honest, it's pretty warm out there. And Macca, first half hour, Newcastle quite dominant. Brisbane just struggling to get themselves into the game. We'll get the thoughts of Roy O'Donovan down on the sideline. Kat, you're down there with Roy. What have you made of this first half hour?
Yeah, boys. Well, look, I think I agree with you there. I think the Jets have been playing all the football. Brisbane Roar have come here, obviously, to get under the skin. I can hear Michael Van Canis going crazy on the sideline from a technical aspect more than anything. I think he's very concerned with when Shaughnessy or Bertolizio are on the ball, that space in behind the left channel of McGarry, Van Canis there, and we've seen a few times Dobson and Adams get into that space. So that's why Brisbane can't get out of their block, and they're struggling from an attacking point of view. But from a Newcastle Jets point of view, Clayton Taylor, Will Dobson in the midfield there have been outstanding. Bayliss as well, you can add to that. And yeah, they're giving their crowd their money's worth so far.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. This is an extended spell here. I know the players want to drink, but I'm just thinking back here to that match that the Jets played against Melbourne City, and Mark Milligan is having a chat to the assistant referee. I don't know what he's having a chat about, but I'm just thinking back to that Melbourne City match, Macca, where he was not happy with the 2 drinks breaks because of the impact it had on the momentum of the game. And that wasn't just for the Jets, that was for both sides. He thought it really affected the match. So I wonder whether he's saying, is this taking a little bit long? Or whether it's more jovial than that, because it looks fairly jovial there.
Well, both teams quickly ran over to their coaches, so maybe it is a little warm out there. Maybe they thought, yeah, this is the perfect opportunity. Jay O'Shea gets a little seeing too, and everyone else can hijack. Well, Jay O'Shea, I think, might be coming off. Jordan Lawton is now sprinting down, and he's just taking his bib off. Looks like he's going to be thrown in, and it doesn't look good for Jay O'Shea.
Well, is this a recurrence of what happened against Melbourne City, I believe it was, the match? Yep. where he was forced off. Bit of a crude tackle. And it looks as though the captain is gone. That is a huge blow, because he scored his most A-League goals against the Jets, 6 of his 29. And Jordan Lawton, the scorer of one of the most spectacular goals in A-League history. You could probably say the most spectacular, but I'm sure there's a debate to be had somewhere. There'd be a few players that would be happy to have that argument, but one thing for sure is he's going to bring energy into midfield, and he's looking for someone to give the armband to, and that is Dean Bazanis. So O'Shea's day done. Lawton into midfield. We'll just see whether that will be a direct swap. And no doubt we'll find out what the issue is. Roy O'Donovan's got some inside knowledge there with Jay O'Shea. 2 Irish boys. Jay O'Shea actually debuted in a match against Roy O'Donovan. So Roy was playing for Cork City and Jay O'Shea was playing for Bray Wanderers in the League of Ireland back in 2006, Macca.
And they've been best mates ever since.
So here is Burgess. And Lawton's first involvement is to give away a free kick. So, a little bit of spice just ebbing out of this match for the moment. Trying to build some momentum again, both of these two sides, after that long delay. Maroney and Vidosic. They got some numbers forward here, Brisbane, if they can move it. Vrakas getting some width on the left. Oh, Burgess coming in. He's playing that holding role with Grozos out of the team, and he's nailed his assignment there. Now it's Eli Adams versus Klein versus Lawton. Oh, he's still going, Eli Adams. And now Dobson wins a free kick. He's asking for play to go on. He's not going to be able to play that on because he's taken the free kick about 10 metres in front of where it was the foul was committed.
Well, it was a good tackle from Burgess, and then Eli Adams, he beat 1, he beat 2. He said, no, I'm going to go for a 3rd, and I'm going to come back in and do it again. He's enjoying himself out there on the ball.
Absolute joy to watch, isn't he? He was one of Brisbane's. Taylor and Wilmering. Taylor continues his forward run. Wilmering having the season of his career. Feeds Taylor. Bayliss turning on a dime. Taylor. Bayliss very nearly got to the 1-2. Backtracking, Shaughnessy. Nothing doing here. Vidosic has hit the turf with a scream. Thompson also down. So now it's Dobson down on the turf. We've had a lot of stoppages in the last 10 minutes or so. You just wonder the heat also taking its toll. So my app saying about 31 degrees at the moment here at McDonald Jones Stadium. Humidity sitting at around 70%. As we see that coming together between Shaughnessy and Vidosic. So you can see final third entries, 4 times as many by the Jets. Brisbane's best chance probably falling to Chris Long when he stung the palms of James Delianov. It seems an age ago now. Talisio's pressure on Vracas. Hayes there, winning the ball back. Adams then secures the free kick, and Newcastle not being allowed to go quickly, and Long, well, he earns himself a yellow ticket. Salas did enough to pressure Taylor, and nothing illegal according to Alex King. And now Brisbane through the man who just went into the book. He's created their best chance of today. He's forced out wide. Lawton and Long. And it was Delianov alongside Shaughnessy, which smothered that cross. He's dynamic, Chris Long.
Well, he causes problems, doesn't he? He has good movement when the team's going forward, but it's just been few and far between for Brisbane Roar today. But as long as it stays at 1-0, Michael Valkanis will be happy enough with that. It's not as though the Jets have really troubled Dean Bazanis of late either.
It's almost been the last 10 minutes. The sting's just been taken out of it. Around that Jay O'Shea injury and him being forced off the field, and you also would think the heat as well. So we should get a fair chunk of stoppage time. Well, that's a poor turnover from Salas. Literally played it straight to Burgess, but Newcastle gifted back. And Brisbane return the favour. Taylor, the back heel. Salas pounced on it. So a lot of turnover in that passage, and you just wonder, Macca, this was a point that was made, well, by Eric Partaloo last week in the Brisbane clash with Adelaide, playing in humid conditions. When you're playing in this kind of heat, you want to control the football, because it is energy sapping, chasing the ball around. Neither side is doing that at the moment. This is a better passage, though, from Brisbane. Salas over the head of Vracas. It was promising. Comes to naught again for Brisbane. Feel at the moment both sides just want to get to the sheds. Happy to just handshake and say, well, let's go off and get rehydrated and get ready for the second half.
Well, to your point, Benny, about Mark Milligan not being happy last time there was 2 drink breaks. You're right. I think momentum was stopped. The crowd did go into a bit of a lull over that Jay O'Shea injury. And it's just been a little scrappy since then. Before that, the Jets were controlling the game, moving the ball around, had better areas of the pitch as well, but at the moment it's almost like the hot potato. Well, you have it, Nat, give it back to me. No one really getting that ball and moving it around with any purpose.
Burgess, good strength to hold off Raw players. Now Dobson, really tight area, and Vracas looked for a moment like he could do some damage, but he was slowed up enough by Burgess. Now it's Lawton, just not enough numbers again. And this is the big change you can see from the Jets of now to where they were maybe a couple of months ago. Defensively, their rest defence, so defence when they're in possession, has really stepped up. So often they were getting caught out.
Well, yeah, it's night and day, to be honest, from the first 6 or 7 weeks to the last 8. Distances, as Mark Milligan has said, they worked on their distances. They were committing fullbacks and everyone, rather than the 2 centre-backs and maybe a 6, everyone was going so high in front of the ball that when they gave it away, they didn't have time to react. Well, they've worked on that. They've made some subtle tweaks, just the distances, to allow them to be able to recover when things don't go their way. And I have to mention, as I think I did last week as well, that Mark Natter has been fantastic this season since he's come in. His reading of the play, he's got pace. And this man too, Shaughnessy, he might not have the pace, but he's been excellent in his positioning, his distribution, and also his timing of tackles to break things down.
Adams skipped away from the challenge of McGarry. There's space in behind. And closed off by Valkanis, who again extends his arms in frustration. So 3 minutes of additional time. Almost a third of that is gone already. Is there a sting in the tail here from the Jets? This is a period of the game Brisbane have not conceded in all season. They have not conceded in the lead up to half-time, and that will assist them in that quest to continue that run. That's a significant stat because it is such a crucial period of the match, that window before half-time.
Well, the other crucial stat for them is they've only scored 15 goals.
But they have scored 4 in their last 2. So they have found more of a goal-scoring streak in recent matches. Adams tried to send it back to the other side of the pitch. Burgess and Rose, the goal scorer, aided there by the treasure from Brisbane. Pass straight to Dobson. This time the deflection will earn Newcastle a throw. Oh, Adams. How's he slipped his way through there? This will be a free kick right before half-time here. Massive, massive opportunity this for the Jets.
Well, he just seems so comfortable with bodies around him, doesn't he? Always positive, backs himself, draws the foul. And it's right on that area now where you think, is it just a little too wide for the strike? With the confidence of this Newcastle Jets team, the discussions are taking place. I wouldn't put them past it to have a crack from this distance.
So Eli Adams is running away. Not on his preferred side. Well, hang on. He's coming back. He's been recalled here, Eli Adams, to the meeting. And now he's... Oh, hang on. Oh. Maybe he is going to be involved. Well, I just wonder whether that was to confuse the Brisbane wall. So all of a sudden they'd set up thinking, well, it's going to be Dobson or Burgess. And now all of a sudden the left footer has arrived. He's at the double bluff. Probably the final chance of the first half. And it is Eli Adams. Oh, it was a torpedo, and it almost ripped a hole in the back of the net.
Well, you can see the funny side of it. He just strolled up to this ball and it went like a rocket.
Oh, you just never tire of watching this young man. And let's hope we get to watch him play in this competition for many years to come. Eli Adams, what an absolute star, and he very nearly came back to haunt his old side. In the end, it's Lockie Rose's goal, the difference between the two sides. Brisbane had a few opportunities, but it was mainly Newcastle probing. And at halftime, it's Newcastle Jets 1, Brisbane Roar 0. And coming up right after this, it's the halftime show from Newcastle.
that one goal in the 90 minutes, it's something special.
That is special! Huge moment for the Matildas.
The only place to see the Combank Matildas and every game of the AFC Asian Cup is on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to McDonald Jones Stadium, where Newcastle are being watched on by their biggest home crowd since the 2018 Grand Final. Over 12,000 in the house today to watch Newcastle as they look to make it 5 straight wins for the first time in A-League history. Lockie Rose's goal has them in front 1-0. So Brisbane have gone to their bench. Michael Roos is into the game in this second half. He will be looking to get himself about up top. Justin Vidosic, the man replaced. And that's to go with Jay O'Shea, who was forced off with injury, a hamstring injury in that first half. So a couple of changes already made by Michael Valkanis. And Newcastle, that 4-match winning run coming in here, wins over Auckland City and Wanderers away from home. And then a win at home against Wellington on Friday. There is a bit of smoke billowing around McDonald Jones Stadium. Some fires to the north of Newcastle, so all our thoughts to any affected by those. It's going to make things a little challenging for the players in the second 45. So underway, Newcastle get it started. And Brisbane, Daniel McBreen, it's their job to try and come out and force the issue. But right now it's Eli Adams with the first strike and anger in this second half.
Yeah, well, the Brisbane Roar need to get some of their midfielders on the ball. We spoke in pre-game about Klein and Mayoroni, how they've formed a nice little partnership. They haven't really had any meaningful possession, move that ball through midfield and up to that forward line. It's been a little bit sparse with the balls going forward, and when they get there, there's not much in the way of support. So they need to move more as a unit, work their way up using that ball, but it's very difficult the way that this Newcastle Jets team love to keep that possession. They bop the ball around and make it very difficult for the opposition.
Shaughnessy, his touch pounced on by Klein, who took it off Bayliss. Physicality on show from Klein. But again, Brisbane in that final third, yes, they've created some chances. They need more to mount a case in this second half. And Macca, Newcastle, even in the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of that first half, they went off the boil as well. What do you feel like Mark Milligan's halftime message would have been?
Well, I think it would have been exactly that. The intensity dropped. First 20 minutes, they were probing that Brisbane Roar defence. There were a couple of near things where they almost got through, where it just skipped past a player. And then it just sort of died down after the Jay O'Shea injury. I think he would ask them to try and just lift the intensity, particularly when they move forward in numbers, as they like to in wide areas, and continue those forward runs.
Rose giving chase. Well, to keep that inside the line. Natta. And this is Roos. Newcastle winning it back through Bayliss. Footwork from Dobson, exemplary. And now it's Eli Adams. And it's Bouzanis who's pushing it away. Oh, Newcastle desperate for that second goal, just to give them a buffer. Look at that desperation from Burgess to ensure there wasn't a counter-attack building there for Brisbane.
That's the kind of football that Mark Milligan will want to see more from his team in this second half. Lovely play, tight areas, little runs in behind, creating opportunities.
So that only yellow card confirmed there, Chris Long in the first half. So the slow down tactics. Wilmering has Roos on his left shoulder. Outran him. Now it's Adams. How has he fashioned that? And Clayton Taylor probably a little disappointed with his delivery, but he's got his side of corner here.
Well, there's another moment that Eli Adams, under immense pressure, really shouldn't have been able to get out, but his quick feet in tight areas just found the space and rolled it wide.
His highlight reel, honestly, the cuts of the highlight reel would be just must watch. Here is the header away from Klein. I'm saying the outtakes, because it's that good from the number 7 for the Newcastle Jets. There's been some famous names that have worn that number at this stadium down the years. So Bazanis, so critical to the Brisbane Roar distribution. You can see why. Well, he picked out Lawton there. Newcastle would be aware of that threat, especially with this 1-goal lead. All it takes is a quick release, and Brisbane are away. Natta, Wilmering, and Adams nudges it through to Bayliss. Oh, Bayliss, the time out of a tight area. Adams now. And these are there's an example again of these habits that Mark Milligan and assistant Nick Stavroulakis talk about. They're building at training, the way they turn out of high pressure situations. And it's not a fluke. You often see that and you go, wow, was that a little bit of luck? Well, it's not. It's week in, week out. Those kind of moments, they're being put under pressure at training.
Yeah, and the confidence then comes from that. Under pressure, sends 2 Brisbane players one way, spins and goes the other, and plays a nice ball forward. There's been the mantra from day dot: play forward, get forward in numbers.
Talicio works into a pocket of space. Adams, early ball. Taylor! There's number 18 in Newcastle colours for Clayton Taylor. And he's got goals in his last 3 here in Newcastle, and the Jets now have that 2-goal buffer.
Well, that was brilliant. All the way back on the Harvey Norman replay in their own half. They fashioned it along the sideline. Bazanis came and then he realised he wasn't going to get there. And the ball across the box. It might not have found Lockie Rose, but Clayton Taylor was there to punish Brisbane Roar. Pure brilliance from the Newcastle Jets. Started in their own half. Look at the weight of that ball there from Bertolicio. And that one again from Eli Adams. We talk about a confident brand of football. Well, that started in their own half under immense pressure. They went back through the pressure down the sideline. And it looks like Clayton Taylor may have got injured in the celebrations.
Well, he's drawing blood for the cause. Clayton Taylor, look at that. 18 career goals for the Newcastle Jets. And that has stung him. I wonder whether he's going to continue, because he's going to require some kind of a bandage. Oh, no, it's the finger on the high five, is it? Or is it? Oh, it's a head bump from Eli Adams.
Eli Adams has just dropped the nut on him.
Now, that's a nasty one. And the face bleeds like there's no tomorrow, Macca.
Well, the competition for the top goal scorer in this team is getting to new levels. They're doing whatever they can to stop the other ones from scoring.
Well, just Newcastle Jets goal scoring history. So he was 10th coming in here, Taylor. He now goes level 18 goals with Andrew Naboot and Adam Taggart. there are some names on this list when it comes to Newcastle Jets history. Mikel Tadzi, Griffiths, Matt Thompson. That's Ryan Griffiths. Matt Thompson ahead of him now.
I think we've got one of them sat on the sideline for us today, haven't we?
Well, Roy O'Donovan, yes. I'm talking in the immediate vicinity. The top four there: Joel Griffiths, Roy O'Donovan, Dimi Petratos, Apostolos Stamatolopoulos. And then those other three I mentioned. So he is rushing up the charts. Clayton Taylor. Roy O'Donovan's got 31. So he's still got a fair way to go to catch Roy. But you just wonder here, Macca, the can opener on Brisbane, how much do they continue to really crack them open now? 2-0 lead. We saw what happened last week with Wellington when the confidence is high.
Well, the Jets scored more goals than anyone in the last 15. We know they scored more goals than anyone, full stop. And that's why I brought up the 15 goals earlier for Brisbane Roar. It's not like they're prolific. And there's the list.
So he goes equal into 8th place now, Clayton Taylor. There's the top four. And he's not far away from entering into that realm. There's a few that aren't far away. Rose, Adams. It's been a good spell for these young Jets. Well, hang on a second. What's going on here? Bayliss and Mayoroni. It's a little bit of a headlock situation there. What is doing there? Now it's Rose coming over saying, leave my teammate alone. What is the carry on there? And Lockie Bayliss is not a player to get engaged in that kind of conduct. What is doing?
Let's have a look here, because I heard the crowd having a bit of a go, but I didn't know what they were going for. And then all of a sudden, you saw the two of them wrestling. You can see there Lockie Bayliss trying to get up. And then it's a little dance and a little bit of romancing.
Well, it's crazy stuff. It really is. Not from that young man. He was trying to escape the headlock. So now it's Salas who's been clattered into. Not for the first time this season. He has copped some serious treatment, Houston Salas. So this is a big test now for Brisbane. I know they're in a little bit of a flat spot after the start to the season they had. 4 losses in their last 5. That only win over Perth, January 16. Their only win of 2026. So if they can pull back this 2-goal deficit, it could be a season-defining moment for them. Gary's delivery and just over the head of Roos. So if you have a look at the ladder, Brisbane win this, as unlikely as that sounds at this point. They would go up to 24 points and would be level with Newcastle. But at the moment, with the 2-goal lead for the Jets, they go top. Remembering that the Black Knights are in action tonight, Auckland FC. They're taking on Perth Glory, who are desperate themselves. So that's not a foregone conclusion that Auckland win that. That one coming up after the Sydney Derby. So we've got a triple header tonight.
Well, you look at all those names on that list, the top end of the table. I think nearly every single one of them has had the opportunity in the past 4 or 5 weeks to go top spot. And they've all balked at it. Well, the Jets, they're saying, we'll have a bit of that. It's been a while since they've been there.
Important to note as well, Newcastle never have won the premiership. They've won the grand final, the championship, but never the premiership in the A-League. They came second in both years they made it through to the grand final. 2007-08 was the Mariners who finished top, and 17-18 it was Sydney FC. outer, drills it forward, and Valkanis nods it back to Brisbanis, who's under pressure here from Rose. Just never gives you a moment's peace as a defender as Lockie Rose. Making Brisbanis stretch there, and again has to distribute to Ruse. Now away to Lawton. Newcastle now with numbers back, so that opportunity closed up pretty swiftly by the Jets. Brisbane now between the lines. Ruse. And a snapshot.
Well, it's 15 minutes into the second half as you see the passing accuracy there. And that's the first touch in the Jets box for Brisbane Roar in the second half. It shows how well the Jets are controlling this game.
On Burgess, look at that again. 2 and 3 players, and he slips it in behind. Well, this would be some goal. Rose! The flag comes up. McDonald Jones Stadium cannot believe it. What a goal that would have been for the Jets. VAR will have a look. My goodness, how about the build-up from Burgess?
Well, wonderful feat. We've spoke about it ad nauseum today because they just keep doing it. And I tell you what, it's going to be close. I think they may have just got it right. It was a neat little step over in the middle, wasn't it? But
it was 3 players he beat here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And then he plays that pass in behind. It was absolute textbook midfield play from Burgess. And Rose looking at a double as it chalked off, so it remains 2-0. Well, they're called the box office Jets for a reason, Macca. Even when they don't score, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I was going to say they've really earned the mantle this year. Entertaining, sitting atop the table at the moment. Yes, there's still plenty of time in this game and games to come this evening, but there's a reason the crowds are turning out.
And Valkanis' header! Brisbane have one back, and that's how quickly things can turn. Dimitri Valkanis with his first A-League goal. The Jets fell asleep for a split second, and the Roar believe once again.
Well, on the Harvey Norman replay, as simple as you like, ball into the back post, he gets up ever so well. That's a great header back across the goal from Valkanis. Escapes his marker, and Delianov is just clutching it thin air. He had a lot of work to do from that angle. What a header that is, by the way, from Dimi. Oh, look at that from every angle you like. That is a quality header. Delianov, no chance. And all of a sudden, Brisbane Roar are back in this game.
Well, it's exactly what this match needed, Macca.
And he's been leading them. He's been giving those chats that he's giving now throughout the game. Come on, boys. We need to be better. The little things. Well, he stood up and delivered a goal to get them back in this match.
So back underway. And this, as we touched on before, if Brisbane can fight back from a 2-goal deficit against a Jets side who we know are white hot at the moment, it could be season defining. And Roy O'Donovan, you spoke to Michael Valkanis at halftime. What did he have to say to you?
Yeah, I spoke to him at halftime briefly, and basically, look, he was fuming. He was saying to me that his team hadn't got going, but he also was looking at the positives. There was only 1 goal in the game, and you consider how good Newcastle Jets were in that first half. It was only 1-0. Now in this second half, that goal being chalked off. Oh.
We'll just see how this plays out. Rose, Bayless! He's got another one, Lockie Bayless. 2 in 2. And no sooner had Brisbane got one back, the Jets restore the 2-goal buffer.
Well, just when we were saying that Brisbane were right back in this match, they do it again. Lockie Bayliss with his second in 2 weeks. On the Harvey Norman replay, he's normally so reliable from the back, Dean Bazanis, but he just gets it all wrong. And when the Jets get the ball, they go forward quickly. He just misreads it. Clayton Taylor gets it done, and there you go. Little 1-2. Lockie Bayliss wanted it back, but it comes to him, and on the stretch, increases the lead back to 2. And how much does he love that? It won't be on the highlight reel as much as last week's, but he doesn't care. It means just the same.
Well, his first 2 A-League goals were absolute bangers. But as you said, Macca, the third one, it might be the least spectacular, but they are all worth the same at the end of the day. And it's a 3-1 lead now for the Jets with 25 minutes to play. Remembering 5 straight wins for Newcastle is what they're chasing. They have never won 5 straight A-League matches. They, of course, won 5 straight on the way to the Cup, but never 5 straight in the A-League. As Mayoroni back into the mixer. Chaos in the box. Klein. Well, he almost had goals in 3 straight matches, did Sam Klein. What an opportunity. And it is absolute chaos out there at the moment. And just to add a little bit more spice to the mix, Nick D'Agostino, he is going to come on for Vracas. D'Agostino, who has scored his second most career goals against Newcastle. And he scored in his last match here at McDonald Jones Stadium back in 2022 for Melbourne victory. In a victory that day. So could he get himself and his side back into this one and himself into the frame for the Socceroos?
Listen to the crowd, the buzz. When Valcana scored that goal, there was a real lull. A hush went over the crowd and a little bit of, oh no, it's not going to happen, isn't it? But all of a sudden, there's a buzz. You can hear it just ripple through the crowd.
That's a forlorn-looking Jay O'Shea. Hamstring injury in the first half for the Brisbane captain. Well, it goes to another level now for Brisbane, if they can find a way back into this one now. Taking a long time for this long throw. And it's a good one. All the way through to Delianov in goal. Bayliss has got time to turn. Search for Adams. Taylor attempting to flick on. Lawton for Roos. Looked like there was a handball there. Alex King was right on the spot though. Klein off Shaughnessy. That is a crucial block from Shaughnessy because that looked goal bound from Klein. Scored a similar goal to that last week. Salas up towards Lawton. Now it's Roos. Tight angle. Drills it across. D'Agostino. Klein again. And Klein goes down in the box. But what a chance for D'Agostino from about 6 yards out.
Well, he had an air swing, didn't he? And I think there was a pretty good shout for a penalty as well on the follow-up. Just watch as this ball is fired across from Roos. D'Agostino finds himself in space, plays it against his own leg. And maybe Eli Adams gets his body in front. And then clears the danger.
Well, less than half an hour until the Sydney derby for the 43rd time. Western Sydney. It hasn't been the most successful rivalry for them, but they've won the most recent, and they're looking for back-to-back derby wins. Back-to-back wins under interim boss Gary Van Egmond. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact was good there from McGarry. D'Agostino testing out James Delianov. There was a bit of wobble on that strike, may have taken a deflection on the way through. So Newcastle yet to make a change, 20 minutes to go. Mizunuma is coming to have a chat to Jess Van Straten, Jets goalkeeping coach, with the tactical information for Mizunuma. Burton Cello also on the bench. He scored off the bench in his last 3 matches here at McDonald Jones Stadium. 3 goals to the super sub off the bench this season. 4 in total. Burgess. And Wilmering. The head bandaged Clayton Taylor. Plays the 1-2 with the man who injured him, Eli Adams. Accidentally, of course, and Eli, well, the doors of the elevator were shutting, and they collected him on the way through, right on the edge of the box.
He's just enjoying himself, isn't he? That's all they can do to bring him down. Just a little shimmy one way through to 2, and then using Salas. Salas pretty much just threw himself at his feet to bring him down.
It's been a while since we've heard that chant reverberate around this stadium. Dobson leaving it for Burgess. Returns it. Here is an Novocastrian, but he's had it pinched off him by Salas, who's looking for the quick release for D'Agostino. Delianov came out assuredly in the end.
Well, he's done well to keep that in, but wherever that set piece was supposed to be, I think they need to work on that one again. The training pitch didn't go to plan.
Well, they've scored 3 goals from set pieces this season, all of them from set pieces, Macca. So maybe you're a harsh marker there. Come on, it's a decent record this season. Bayliss, space again for Dobson to work in, and that pass just too heavy for Taylor initially. We'll get another bite at the cherry, though. Dobson. And it was a knuckling strike at goal. Always dipping away. Problem here for Brisbane as Newcastle about to make their first change. So Mizunuma is going to replace Eli Adams as the crowd figure is announced here at McDonald Jones Stadium. We foreshadowed it at halftime. It is their biggest home crowd since the 2018 A-League Grand Final, where it was a sellout over 29,000. It's the first time since then they've had more than 12,000 in the house.
Well, it's great to see them turning out and supporting the team, and why wouldn't they? We've seen plenty of good crowd figures. We saw some earlier in the year with Brisbane. We've seen it across other clubs performing well. It's great to see the Newcastle fans getting into the spirit and supporting their team.
The Teletubbies are in the house. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's my era. Was that your era, Macca? You didn't see much Teletubbies, did you?
They were all black and white in my area, mate.
So Eli Adams off. There's a banana. SpongeBob in the background as well, I reckon. It's a sad-looking away bay for Brisbane. Is that Pikachu Macca or? I don't think it is, but looks like it. Don't forget, triple header tonight. Perth Glory, they need to bounce back. They really do. They're in a little bit of a flat spot at the moment, taking on Auckland FC, who, if this result stands, they will need a win to go back above Newcastle in the premiership race. It's incredible when you think about it that we're saying Newcastle in a premiership race after the slow start to the season they had. They won just 2 of their first 7 matches. Well, now they've lost just 1 of their last 7. And that was that absolute thriller against the Bulls, the 5-4 clash. So Michael Ruse now forced off, and Ben Halloran is going to play his first minutes of the season. Can you believe that? The 33-year-old former Socceroo hasn't been cited for the Raw this season until today in a playing capacity. And Quinn McNichol also coming into the game. And Jordan Lawton, who did replace Jay O'Shea, he's come off as well. So that, Andrew Howe no doubt will be running the stats over this. That's 2 substitutes who have now been substituted in this game. Is that a record, Howie? Send me a text.
Well, Michael Ruse had to come off. I don't think Jordan Lawton was too happy. When his number came up, he looked nonplussed.
So just having a look at that bench, that means that Matthew Dent, the only player on the bench, outfield player that is, who has not been utilised. And you can say Lawton, yeah, he would be a bit perplexed, but obviously Michael Valkanis not happy with his output today, or maybe just a tactical tweak, but you can't really see that at the moment. Looks as though McNichol is playing on that left edge. So here's a free kick for Newcastle.
Just late there, Quinn McNichol.
So Mizanuma with the throw. Bertolicio, first time ball. And it's Halloran this time with the clearance. So Macca, we know Newcastle where they're at the moment, but Michael Valkanis in Brisbane. Excellent start to the season. They were sitting well entrenched in the top 3. Had chances to go to the top of the table. Just not quite happening for them at the moment. Wilmering, Taylor. Never looked likely on that occasion.
Well, it's not pretty reading for Brisbane Roar fans when you look back over the last 7 or 8 games, including this one. As you say, if it stays this way, that'll be 6 losses in their last 8 games.
And I get they had that busy spell around January, and it was busier than a lot of sides, so I can understand Michael Valkanis' frustration with that. There is absolutely no doubt about that. They played that New Year's Eve game against the Mariners, then that to back up a few days later against Wellington, same against City, and then Auckland FC. So it was 4 matches in a brutal spell.
Yeah.
And they just haven't recovered since then.
Well, the beauty of the A-League is they're only 4 points off second place as it stands. So plenty of time to turn this around.
Well, the Jets, they were closer to the bottom at the beginning of this run. 5 matches in a row, and all of a sudden they're at the top. So that's how quickly you can shift the dial in the A-League. That's why we love it. Such an even competition. Just do not know what is going to happen next. And there's a stumble and there's a cramp for McGarry. He's not going to get much sympathy around these parts. matches and a goal for the Jets in 2022 for making the move to the Mariners, and then he headed over to Aberdeen in Scotland. Spent some time in the Greek Super League as well before returning to Brisbane. He actually played at the same club that Georgios Vrakas was at last season. So Delianov searching for Taylor. Halloran gets bumped to the floor. Now it's Brisbane all of a sudden. They want to play quickly. Newcastle not allowing them to do so. So Newcastle going to their bench again, and it looks as though it will be Cicluna and Gibson. So the super sub Bertoncello may not get the chance to extend his goal scoring streak off the bench. He won't get too much time as it stands right now. So it looks as though you would think if Gibson comes on, it would be Rose off and then Cicluna for one of the midfielders. D'Agostino, that is a powerful long throw. One goal here for Brisbane, and they're right back in the thick of things. Here's Anuma. One for the Jets, though. It would seal it. A 4-1 victory last week against Wellington. Chasing that again here today with another one. This is McNichol, outworked by Bertolicio. McGarry. So Klein has to slip into that left back role. Newcastle were attempting to exploit it. Throw for the Jets. The substitutions will have to wait. And here they come for Newcastle. So Lucas Cicluna, the Jets coaching staff have been most impressed by his industry, his endeavour. They were just trying to build up that match fitness, especially the training workload. They train at such a high level, Newcastle, and he's come off the bench in those last two matches. So he comes into the game. Rose, who scored the opening goal from the penalty spot, his 7th of the season. He leads the Golden Boot race in this competition with Ifeanyi Eze and Clayton Taylor, the other man replaced, with his 18th goal in Jets colours. No, he hasn't been replaced. He gets a chance to add to that highlights reel. It's Will Dobson who's been replaced. So a late change from the Jets. So Dobson, the man who comes from the field. This is Wilmering. Cicluna. And D'Agostino just watches. It's been that kind of afternoon for Brisbane.
Well, he wanted the first time ball. He timed his run. He was right on halfway as it would have been the first time ball. He would have been just perfectly timed, and then he knew when it didn't come, well, I'm offside. I don't have time to get back now. It's a little frustrating. There's plenty of space in front of him to run into as well.
Well, it's a frustrated looking Brisbane bench. That looks like some ice on the upper shin, maybe the knee of Vrakas as well. So you wonder whether that's a concern leading into their home match with the Mariners next Saturday. Here's Clayton Taylor. Wilmering again, giving the Jets width on the left. Bayliss. Touch on to Mizunuma. Taylor again. Well, as every minute ticks by, they get closer and closer to history. It's incredible. 21 years in this competition, the Newcastle Jets, and never have they won 5 consecutive matches. Even in the golden year, you would say, under Ernie Merrick, 17-18, or under that under Gary Van Egmond in that championship winning year, 2007-8. Never won 5 in a row. That's what stands in front of them here, if they can see it, these final 5 minutes plus stoppage time. Straight after this one, we are heading to Sydney. It is the Sydney Derby for the 43rd time. So do not go anywhere. Eli Adams leading the Paramount Plus player index from Taylor and Bayliss. McGarry's worked hard for Brisbane. So too has Burgess for the Jets. It's hard to fault anyone in Jets colours. There's the man who scored the first goal. Taylor and Bayliss, the other two. Oh, here's some space for Brisbane. McNichol, well, that is a very crude challenge from Bertolissio, but it broke down the attack. And Valkanis is asking for another colour, but it's hard in that situation.
Well, it's a clear yellow card. Professional foul. He knew he'd been caught. There's a player on the outside for Brisbane supporting. Easy decision.
If you're a Jets fan, you love it. If you're a Brisbane fan, you hate it. And if you're a neutral, you hate it.
Correct.
It's the most frustrating situation in the game. So Mayoroni, the head of Natta. And this is Cicluna, a little chip over the top. Can he use some pace up top? Mizunuma yet to score for the Jets this season. So as it stands, Brisbane sitting in 7th place. So they could have gone to 24 points with victory today. So not all is lost for the Roar by any stretch. They've got the Mariners next week. We know where the Mariners are on the table, sitting down at the bottom. So they'll see that as an opportunity to pick up points at home before they face Melbourne. Victory away from home, who they beat earlier in the season. Bayliss. Taylor. Another corner on the way for the Jets. Can they score a goal from a corner? They haven't scored from that situation all season. Mark Milligan and Nick Stavroulakis in conversation as this one nears its conclusion. So it's Mizunuma. They lose Eli Adams to the bench, and Mizunuma comes in and his set-piece delivery right up there with Adams. But he's not going to get to utilise it here. It's short to Taylor, who scoops it up. Burgess urged to shoot. Thinks that's probably a selfish option, so he opts for Cicluna. Taylor. Cicluna. His brother will be in action a little later tonight for Western Sydney. Lucas Cicluna. Dylan playing a key role for Western Sydney on return from injury in the last few weeks. Here's Clayton Taylor. All delivery gets side down. What colour will this be? Long. He's already got one in the first half. His afternoon's over. Brisbane Roar will finish with 10 men. And a disappointing afternoon for Brisbane becomes even darker. It's a long walk down the tunnel.
Well, Shane Stefanuto making sure he gets down there to make sure he gets down there with no more kerfuffle. But it was a silly challenge, really, wasn't it? He was coming in late. He was sliding across. He made it an easy decision. You see there, onside. Clayton Taylor gets that ball away, and that's just reckless.
So Xavier Burton-Cello, who scored in his last 3 matches off the bench. He hasn't got too much time if he's to continue that record here today. Clayton Taylor comes off the field. And we've got 5 minutes of stoppage time. So 5 minutes for Burton-Cello to continue this streak. And Mizunuma to link up with Bayliss. And another corner. So that is just at this venue for Burton-Cello, just at McDonald Jones Stadium. Last 3 appearances off the bench. And he scored. Burgess. That time shoots. Bayliss! Bayliss! The box office Jets, they are humming. And Bayliss has got a career double for the first time. And they are going to make it 5 straight wins for the first time in A-League history.
Well, it all started from the set piece. They went short. In the corner, they went short again. And on the Harvey Norman replay, you'll see it just all goes wrong. The determination for Bayliss when it props back out again. They're first to react to everything. And he just steps inside and tucks it away, Lockie Bayliss, for his 3rd goal in 2 games. And they've looked good again today, haven't they? And my word, they deserve to be sat atop the table. They are entertaining, they are ruthless, and they are dispatching teams with ease. 4-1 again, off the back of last week's 4-1. This Newcastle Jets team, that man, or those 2 men, have got them absolutely humming.
Well, I tell you what, Lockie Bayliss, the way he would approach Darren Baisley's door, the New Zealand coach, would be to knock politely. Well, he's got the sledgehammer out in the last 2 matches. He is smashing down the door. He's saying, get me on the plane. He's already played for them at the Olympics. I tell you what, he is mounting a case here, Bayliss, to be included in Baisley's squad for Canada, the USA and Mexico, the World Cup in the middle of the year. But right now, there's more entertainment to be had for these Jets. They were handed out a 3-0 drubbing back in round 4 by the Raw. Well, they have returned the favour at McDonald Jones Stadium.
Well, they want more, don't they? They can smell the blood.
Burgess, just in front of Gibson. Well, they have not beaten the Jets here in Newcastle since December of 2022. Brisbane, and that is going to continue. It's going to be 5 defeats in 6 for the Raw. It's going to be 5 straight wins for the Jets.
Well, I wonder what the crowd figure is going to be at the next home game.
Well, it's against Macarthur in a few weeks' time. It's a Sunday afternoon, 6 p.m. kickoff, as they've got Adelaide and Perth in the coming weeks, the Jets. And the next 3 home games, Macarthur, Western Sydney, and then Auckland. Get your popcorn ready for that one, potentially. Here's a chance for McNichol. Just not strong enough in that situation. Well, they have been starved, these fans, for so long. Burton-Cello, the super sub. He slips it through. Mizunuma Mizunuma. He tried to place it in the corner. And the Japanese international just couldn't quite find a fifth.
Well, they're queuing up, aren't they? And the Brisbane players are out on their feet. They're just throwing legs out. Michael Valkanis on the sideline, he just threw his arms up as if to say, what is going on here? And the crowd with the Newcastle chant goes up again. Well, it's been a long time between drinks, hasn't it? For a successful Newcastle team, for this crowd to get behind them. Well, they're well and truly behind them now.
Well, there he is, the ninja player of the match, sporting an injury from the celebrations. And these box office Jets have soared right into the history books. Newcastle have 5 straight wins for the first time in A-League history. And right now, they are top of the league. Rose scored the first. Bayliss a double. Taylor a goal as well. Mark Milligan's side absolutely flying at the moment. The Australia Cup winners setting their sights on a season to remember. Full time in Newcastle. The Jets 4, Brisbane Roar 1.
An incredible first and second half. My goodness, what a 90 minutes as we make our way through the Harvey Norman highlights. Roy, talk to me about that second half.
Well, it was unbelievable from a Newcastle Jets point of view. Brisbane Roar have to lick their wound. This was a great goal from Balcanis. The skill it takes to do that, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. The Jets, their press was unbelievable. The clinical finishing, the unselfishness was unbelievable. That front three are a force to be reckoned with, and Newcastle Jets well and truly worthy winners. And this goal from Bayliss to top it off, absolute pure class.
First career double for Bayliss. What a performance. Speaking of performances, the Alex Tobin medal saw Clayton Taylor come out on top as the ninja player of the match. What a performance from him individually.
He's unbelievable. He's such a dynamic player. The link up with him and Adams and Rose and Bayliss and all of them, unbelievable. This Jets team is a joy to watch right now.
Such a joy. Speaking of joys, the Sydney Derby just around the corner. It's about to kick off. Do not go anywhere.